No need to worry about the future till it comes. Not until the moment arrives. And when it does, I'll be counting on you. Not you. That was to her, my future self. Can't say when you'll meet, but trust me, you'll love her. Just you wait.
The scene you just watched is one of my favorite moments in all of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because it captures everything that makes Aerith so remarkable. In just a few lines, she manages to be vulnerable, mature, polite, emotionally honest, quietly tragic, unintentionally flirty, and strangely prophetic all at once. For me, this single scene says more about Aerith's character than hours of cutscenes ever could. It shows a girl who has been hurt deeply, yet refuses to let that pain turn her into someone cruel. It shows a woman who carries horrific memories but still speaks with gentleness. It shows a heroine who feels guilty for her dark and ugly thoughts, yet opens up about them with sincerity instead of shame. And most importantly, it hints at a truth Aerith knows, a truth about the future, about Cloud, and about herself, that she cannot fully explain. This entire video is about that, about why Aerith works, why she is written so well, why she resonates emotionally, why she feels real, and why her relationship with Cloud is one of the most subtle and beautifully crafted romances in modern gaming. Let's start by unpacking what Aerith actually says in this scene. She talks about Hojo kidnapping her and her mother, torturing them, experimenting on them, and poisoning her childhood with fear. She admits she sometimes thinks dark and ugly things, thoughts so violent they scare her, and yet she delivers all of this with a kind of composed honesty. She isn't trying to make Cloud pity her. She isn't trying to dramatize her trauma. She's simply being open with someone she trusts. That level of vulnerability is incredibly rare in modern character writing, especially for a female protagonist. She feels like a real person confessing something intimate, not a scripted hero delivering a trauma monologue. She also speaks with extreme politeness. Not performative politeness, but genuine consideration. Aerith always tries to protect the feelings of the person she's talking to. She softens her tone. She frames her confession in a way that won't overwhelm Cloud. This kind of emotional refinement is almost a lost art in fiction. Aerith isn't polite because she's weak. She's polite because she's strong enough to remain gentle even when the world wasn't gentle to her. But the most interesting line is when she says she'll be counting on Cloud's future self. Then she adds, "Not you. That was to her, my future self. You can't say when you'll meet, but trust me, you'll love her." This is the heart of the mystery. What does Aerith know? Why is she so certain Cloud will love her future self? Is she predicting something? Is she hinting at timelines merging? Or is she just flirting in her innocent, teasing Aerith way? The truth is, it's all three. But it goes even deeper than that. Aerith isn't just sensing fragmented futures, she is standing at the crossroads of timelines that she herself subconsciously remembers. As a Cetra, she doesn't perceive time the way normal people do. She feels echoes, emotional residues, and spiritual impressions from outcomes that haven't happened yet but still exist somewhere in possibility. Aerith knows she doesn't have long. She knows Sephiroth will kill her in at least one version of the future. She's already seen the shape of her fate, even if she doesn't know every detail. So when she talks about her future self, she isn't referring to a version of Aerith who grows old or survives peacefully. She's referring to the Aerith who exists across timelines, the future consciousness, the future memory, the future echo of herself that Cloud will eventually encounter, whether in dreams, visions, alternate realities, or spiritual connection. In her mind, all those versions of Aerith, the living one, the soon-to-die one, the post-death one, the timeline-shifted one, are still her. They are not separate characters. They are one soul stretched across multiple branching destinies. So, when she says, "Trust me, you'll love her," she's speaking from a place of bittersweet certainty. She knows Cloud's love for her isn't limited to the present moment. She knows there is a version of her Cloud will still feel connected to even after she's gone. This is also why her line in Remake, "Promise me you won't fall in love with me," becomes devastating. It isn't a joke or playful banter. It is Aerith trying to protect Cloud from the pain of what she already senses is coming. She knows that if Cloud falls in love with her present self, he will be shattered when she dies. But she also knows she can't stop his heart or her own. She's caught between destiny and desire. She tries to shield him emotionally while simultaneously failing to hide the fact that she is falling for him too. That contradiction, wanting Cloud to love her, yet not wanting him to suffer because of her, is the emotional core of her character. And this scene makes that contradiction unbearable. Aerith is cherishing every second she has left. She's enjoying being alive, enjoying Cloud's company, enjoying the small moments because she knows these moments won't last. She's carrying the burden of her fate quietly, never dumping it on Cloud, never demanding reassurance, never acting desperate or clingy. Even though she knows she may soon die, she continues protecting his feelings instead of her own. She hides her fear so he won't worry. She hides her sadness so he can smile. She hides the truth of her fate because she doesn't want to rob him of hope. And yet, at the same time, she can't help letting her real feelings slip through. The gentle flirtation, the fondness in her eyes, the small moments where she opens her heart and allows Cloud to see who she truly is. What Aerith feels in this moment is a mixture of things almost impossible to describe. The ache of someone who already knows she's living on borrowed time, the joy of a girl falling in love for the second time, the guilt of wanting something she fears she can't keep, the maturity of someone who accepts fate but refuses to let it poison her present, and the courage of someone who cherishes everything even while knowing how temporary it is. She's not desperate. She's not hopeless. She's not resigned. She is simply determined to live beautifully in the time she has left and to make sure Cloud will love her future self so that even after she dies, the bond between them will continue. Does this mean Aerith will return in Part 3? Possibly. Rebirth strongly hints at that. But more importantly, Aerith knows she will continue to exist in Cloud's story across all timelines, all memories, and all outcomes. She knows there is a future version of herself Cloud will meet, whether alive or dead, and she knows Cloud will love her in every reality. And that is why this scene feels like a quiet confession. Aerith isn't just talking about fate, she's talking about love that transcends it. Aerith's personality succeeds because it's built on balance instead of exaggeration. She is playful in a way that feels natural rather than childish. She is wise without sounding arrogant. She is kind without being naive or blind. She is brave without being reckless or impulsive. She is humorous without ever tipping into annoyance. And her teasing is warm and respectful rather than mocking. These traits are woven into a cohesive whole, creating a character who feels genuinely human. Her emotional intelligence is remarkable. She senses people's feelings, reads tone effortlessly, and responds in ways that feel thoughtful and grounded. Aerith isn't a bundle of traits. She's a coherent person, and that is why people instantly connect with her. Aerith's warmth becomes even more impressive when you understand her backstory. She grew up hunted by Shinra, isolated from other children, and burdened with the knowledge that she was the last Ketra. The planet whispered warnings into her mind, and Hojo's experiments stole her innocence. Yet instead of growing resentful or bitter, Aerith develops a strength defined by compassion. She doesn't deny her trauma, but she doesn't let it define her. She chooses empathy, chooses light, chooses laughter. Her strength isn't born from invulnerability, it's born from surviving vulnerability. That's why people cheer for her. She carries her responsibilities with extraordinary grace. Aerith views the world through a lens shaped by fate, memory, and the planet's whispers. She senses future possibilities, feels the tension between timelines, and understands that destiny might eventually take her away. Yet she chooses hope anyway. She chooses to live fully, even if she believes her life may be short. She chooses to love boldly, even if her heart may break. She chooses to smile, even when she senses tragedy. This quiet courage makes Aerith feel older than her age, not physically, but in spirit. Her worldview is defined by acceptance without surrender, a rare and beautiful kind of maturity. And why is Aerith perfect for Cloud? Cloud is a character defined by walls. His entire identity is built on half-truths, trauma, emotional suppression, and a constant fear of disappointing the people around him, he struggles to express himself, struggles to trust others, and even struggles to understand what he actually feels. Aerith is the perfect emotional counterbalance to all of this. She approaches Cloud with a softness that never feels pitying, a curiosity that never feels invasive, and a confidence that gently nudges him out of his shell without overwhelming him. She senses when he needs space and when he needs encouragement. She notices when he shuts down emotionally and responds with warmth instead of pressure. Through teasing, gentle humor, and light flirtation, she loosens Cloud's defenses little by little, making him comfortable enough to show parts of himself he normally hides from everyone. At the same time, Cloud brings qualities Aerith desperately needs. He grounds her, he treats her as a normal girl instead of a Cetra, a savior, or a symbol. Cloud doesn't put her on a pedestal or treat her like a prophecy. He listens to her, he protects her, not in a controlling way, but in the way someone protects a friend they genuinely care about. When she laughs, he notices. When she's scared, he steadies her. Cloud gives Aerith something she rarely gets, a quiet, stable presence who expects nothing from her except honesty. Together, they form a dynamic built not on spectacle or destiny, but on emotional balance. Two people filling the gaps in each other with sincerity rather than obligation. Aerith's early interest in Cloud is often misunderstood. When she first meets him, she catches glimpses of Zack and his behavior. The sword, the stance, the hero facade, the moments of unexpected bravery. It's not romantic longing, it's recognition, nostalgia, and a bittersweet echo of someone she once loved deeply. But this projection fades quickly because Cloud is nothing like Zack once you truly observe him. Zack was confident, charismatic, direct, sunny, and expressive. Cloud is awkward, quiet, emotionally tangled, and unsure of himself, and Aerith picks up on these differences immediately. As the journey continues, she stops seeing the shadow of Zack and begins noticing Cloud's real personality. The sincerity hidden behind his awkwardness, the softness hidden behind his stoic silence, the vulnerability he tries so hard to hide, and the loyalty he shows to people he hasn't even known for long. Aerith is perceptive enough to realize Cloud isn't pretending to be strong. He is someone carrying emotional wounds he doesn't know how to process. That's what draws her in. She develops affection based on who Cloud is, not who he reminds her of. Their relationship becomes genuine precisely because it evolves from curiosity into emotional understanding. Aerith chooses Cloud not because he resembles Zack, but because Cloud reveals parts of himself that resonate with the deepest parts of her heart. One thing that makes Aerith feel incredibly alive is the emotional nuance in how she interacts with Cloud. Her humor isn't forced or try-hard, it's instinctive and natural, used to break tension or draw Cloud out of his seriousness. She teases him when he's too stiff, jokes with him when he seems lost, and uses playfulness as a bridge toward emotional closeness. These little moments create intimacy without either character explicitly acknowledging it. Aerith's jealousy is also portrayed with rare subtlety. She doesn't explode or act petty. Instead, she gives tiny human reactions, slight pauses, playful teasing, or quiet insecurity when she realizes Cloud shares history with Tifa. She doesn't try to compete or diminish Tifa, which makes her even more endearing. And when Aerith understands the depth of Cloud and Tifa's bond, she responds with maturity instead of bitterness. She doesn't argue, deny, or demand clarification. She accepts it gracefully, acknowledges her feelings honestly, and continues to support Cloud without letting jealousy twist her behavior. This mixture of humor, vulnerability, and emotional maturity is extremely rare in modern writing, especially for a character framed as a love interest. It is precisely this nuance that makes Aerith feel like a real person, rather than a narrative device. So did Aerith really die? In the OG game, Aerith's death is straightforward and absolute. It is a single moment that shaped an entire generation of storytelling. Shocking, devastating, and permanent. But Remake and Rebirth completely reframe this question. In the new continuity, Aerith is far more aware of her fate. She understands the flow of destiny, senses the branching of timelines, and even has moments where she seems to exist outside normal linear time. This emotional, older version of Aerith suggests she has memories or intuitions the player isn't fully aware of. When the Rebirth ending arrives, Cloud's reaction tells us everything. He still hears her voice. He still senses her presence. He still sees her as if she exists half within their world and half within another. Aerith appears in the alternate Midgar alongside Biggs, showing that she exists simultaneously across layers of reality. She communicates through memories, echoes, and emotional impressions. She isn't gone, she's displaced. So the better question is not, did Aerith die, but what does death mean in a story where timelines overlap, destinies break, and memories persist? Rebirth strongly implies that Aerith's essence, her consciousness, her connection to the planet, and her emotional link to Cloud continues to exist and influence the world. She may not be physically present in Cloud's timeline, but she's not erased. She's woven into the fabric of the story. She exists across timelines, across hearts, and across destinies. Rebirth seems to suggest that Aerith's death is not an ending, but a transformation.